The Mark Thompson Show.
We've done a lot today, including the major announcement that Albert's having a baby. Hard to follow that. Hard to follow Florida. But there's one man who can do it. He is someone who watches movies, streaming, music. We call him the Culture Blaster for a reason. He is remarkable, and he comes and goes on a rainbow. Michael Snyder, the Culture Blaster, everybody. Hello, Michael.
Hey, Mark. Hello, Kim. And I have to say, it would be just another nightmarish day in Trumpistan if not for this good news about Albert and his significant other having a blessed event, as we say. Congratulations to both of them. Very exciting, right?
Very sweet. And we love the show's first baby.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Very cool. And hey, speaking of the Manchurian cantaloupe, and I hesitate to do so, but I hear that Donald Trump's latest shameless marketing scheme is Trump melatonin. And his pitches, you've seen how well it works for me at cabinet meetings, international summits, and Knicks games. Now you can try Trump melatonin and get a good night's sleep all day long, wherever you are.
He does like to get his rest. You are right about that.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm in San Francisco, and it's Pride weekend, so there'll be a big parade on Sunday. There's a forever Grateful Dead art show at the Haight Street Arts Center. How San Franciscan can you get? But I also want to point out before we get to the movies that in Los Angeles on Saturday night, KP Projects Art Gallery has an all-female group art show that looks absolutely tremendous, and I'm thrilled that the Constellation Club at the Formosa is back for its 4th anniversary party, hosted as ever by DJs Curtis and Olivia. If I was in LA this weekend, I would be there. I hope to be back next week, but in the meantime, shall we get to the movies?
Yeah, that's great, though. Thank you for that little lineup for the weekend. Looks like it's going to be a good one, but yes, please.
We got to kick off with Supergirl. Adapting the basics of an 8-issue miniseries called Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, which was written by Tom King with beautiful art by Bilquis Evely. Supergirl is the second official feature film in the revised DC Comics cinematic movie and TV universe, which was taken over by James Gunn, the filmmaker behind Guardians of the Galaxy for Marvel and DC Suicide Squad. And this movie comes after his reintroduction of the Man of Steel himself, Superman, in last year's Superman film, which, as a precursor to Supergirl, featured an end-of-credits cameo by actress Millie Alcock from House of the Dragon and Sirens as a drunk and mildly belligerent Supergirl. And Alcock, I say, she's the best thing about Supergirl, which when it works is as entertainingly scruffy and messy as her portrayal of the title character, who is Superman's cousin Kara Zor-El, who is also the only other survivor of the doomed planet Krypton that we know of, other than her pet Krypto the Super Dog, who shows up on Earth in a capsule along with Kara. And I have to say that Krypto is like Kara, kind of a loose cannon with amazing powers. And those powers are the likes of which that Kara can't get drunk unless she's under the rays of a red sun, which saps those powers as it does for Superman. And we encounter her in a red sun solar system on a planet where she's busy getting drunk. And it's her birthday. Apparently, she has issues, and those issues are probably directly related to the fact of her origin. Unlike Superman, who lands on Earth as an infant and is raised by a kindly Kansan couple, Supergirl has seen the planet fall apart. Her parents die and has a lot of trauma that's related to that. And, you know, they kind of need to include that backstory in this movie to explain her angst and her self-destructive behavior and her initial disregard for helping people. And those bits of her origin are kind of gratuitously cut into the basic plot of Woman of Tomorrow. And the end result is kind of an interstellar Western that seems to be as influenced by True Grit as it is by Star Wars and Mad Max. Eve Ridley, a young actress, plays Ruthie, a kid seeking revenge for the violent actions of a boilerplate sci-fi thug. Krem of the Yellow Hills, kind of an underwhelming villain played by German actor Matthias Schoenertz, and also added to the mix, not originally in the miniseries Woman of Tomorrow, but actually quite good as alien bounty hunter Lobo, is Jason Momoa. And Lobo is this indestructible Wolverine type on a space-traversing rocket-powered motorcycle. And this is a role much more suited to him than the version of Aquaman he played in a previous DC cinematic universe. Anyway, my point is that there are kind of good things about this, and they mostly revolve around the performance by Millie Alcock. And, you can get why she's the way she is. And we've never seen a Supergirl like this. She's always been kind of this wholesome individual like Melissa Benoist in the Supergirl miniseries on TV or the ongoing series. And this is actually a little more interesting, to be honest with you. And it's directed by Craig Gillespie, who did
I've never seen anything like it.
Sorry?
No, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead.
We haven't. Oh, you interrupted me with a drop. Okay.
Yes, I did. Exactly.
I've got to say that
I was helping.
It's interesting to note that the director, Craig Gillespie, did I, Tonya and Cruella. So he's really at home with unhinged women. And it doesn't all hang together, but it's hard not to embrace Alcock's Kara and her wild pup, Crypto. I give a tentative positive to Supergirl. And, again, maybe
I don't watch this stuff, so you can tell me. I don't mean it in any kind of way that I'm like too hip for it. I'm just like it's just beneath me or whatever. I just never really vibe with this particular stuff. But I appreciate it, and I guess what I'm asking, that's my preamble to the question, which is, has there been in this world of comic book heroes a kind of troubled protagonist like this? Like, she's got seriously a drinking problem that's explained by her trauma. Is that something that is soil that's been tilled before, or is that new?
Not really. I would say that kind of an anti-hero like Wolverine or like this character Lobo that has been grafted onto the Woman of Tomorrow plot.
I see.
They're kind of, outliers, and so is she. And I think it's kind of an interesting tack to take, and it makes it more interesting for me than seeing, again, the wholesome naif that was originally how Supergirl was conceived in the late 50s when she was introduced. She was, just a wholesome teenage girl that has superpowers.
Ranting teacher Lori says, if Jason Momoa is in it, not as Aquaman, I must watch when it streams. Plus, I love the idea of a drunk, angsty Supergirl. That is the intriguing thing to me, too. I must say, it sounds to me like this is sort of a C+ review, maybe B-.
I'll give it a B- because, again, I read Woman of Tomorrow, and they drop a few things out, and they add a few things here and there, and I understand the need to give her context with her origin and the tragedy of losing her parents. When Krypton exploded, apparently a piece of the planet was flung out, and the survivors clung to it, and eventually they die. But she's sent by her father and mom, and by the way, her father's played by David Krumholtz. And there are some lovely scenes between her and between her and her dad, but also between her and David Cornsweet, who plays Superman. We see again her arrival on Earth, and there's a few moments that are nice. And again, this is a different approach to the kind of character that we're used to, being wholesome and decent and upstanding. And there's character growth over the course of the film. So yeah, I will give
intriguing.
It a tentative recommendation.
All right, Culture Blaster, a tentative endorsement. Please move on.
I shall. Let's talk about something I can wholeheartedly endorse: The Invite, a misbegotten dinner party at a nicely furnished San Francisco flat goes off the rails in The Invite, which is director and actress Olivia Wilde's smart, darkly funny, and eventually wrenching adaptation of the Spanish film The People Upstairs. And this is about two couples getting to know one another at this dinner party, and perhaps intimately, and perhaps to their mutual detriment. And the cast, unimpeachably good. Upstairs neighbors Pina and Hawk, a therapist and a masseur played by Penelope Cruz and Edward Norton, make a lot of noise during moments of intimacy. And it's been gnawing at the downstairs neighbors, Joe and Angela, a music teacher and a housewife played by Seth Rogen and Wild. So Joe and Angela have a tween daughter, and they are experiencing marital troubles while Pina and Hawk seem as if they have a healthy relationship. And since the daughter is at a sleepover, Angela tells Joe that she has invited Pina and Hawk to an impromptu dinner in an attempt to get to know them better. And this is against Joe's wishes. He really has resented these people because of the noise they make and, for various other reasons. And the whole affair, the dinner party, becomes increasingly contentious until it takes this really unexpected turn. So imagine if Edward Albee's Who's Afraid of Virginia Woolf was rewritten by Pedro Almodovar and Judd Apatow, and you'd have some idea of what the invite is like.
Wow.
But the script here is by Will McCormick and Rashida Jones. Yes, that Rashida Jones, the actress. And it snaps. And the foursome of actors attack it and one another with genuine gusto. Wild, Rogen, Cruz, and Norton are the only actors in the movie, and they are uniformly excellent. And Wild keeps all of this hurtling forward with great panache, plus her comedic chops are considerable. We don't see them that often, and they are considerable here, especially when Angela is sniping at the slovenly and whining Joe, played by Rogen. I really liked The Invite. It's in select Los Angeles and New York City theaters this weekend, and it is opening wider next Friday.
Wow. Very, very good. A hearty endorsement for The Invite. Please continue, oh great culture blaster.
Okay, let's move on to Couture, which is written and directed by Alice Vinecar, who is, I believe, a French filmmaker. And it is a look at the machinations behind Fashion Week in the City of Light, Paris, through the experiences of a fledgling African model, a young French designer / seamstress, and an American filmmaker hired to provide audio-visual magic to this kickoff runway event for Fashion Week. And the fact that Angelina Jolie is playing Maxine, the filmmaker, who has to confront a very wrenching issue in the middle of her location shoot, may explain why she's the most impactful part of the movie. And I mean, that's even with the presence of the sullen French leading man, Louis Garrel, as her cinematographer and somewhat love interest. They all sort of fade into the background when Jolie is on screen. As for the rest of Couture, it really doesn't tell us much new or thrilling about the fashion industry that hasn't been revealed in greater depth in other movies. Ada, the African model, played by an Ernest Anier-Ane, is tapped to be the central figure in Maxine's film, and she's trying to acclimate to this new world that she's trying to conquer. And the seamstress has to recut and resew the dress Ada is going to wear for the film, and that's about it. I mean, this is interesting. Particularly if fashion is a passion, but it is not compelling other than Jolie's performance. Couture is primarily in French and English with subtitles when necessary. It's in select theaters. This is one of those not terrible Michael Snyder, the Mark Thompson show.
So far we've had a B-, a full embracing at the A level, and a
I'd call it a C. I'd call it a C.
Okay, a C on Couture. What's next, our great culture blaster?
The Get Out. The Get Out is a workmanlike crime drama about an aging nightclub owner in Los Angeles who launders money for the cartels and wants out. A robbery, unfortunately, puts him behind the eight ball with the gangsters that use his club to move their cash, and he has to figure a way to cover his ass in order to retire and get away with his girlfriend, thus the title, The Get Out. It kind of helps that Marco, the club owner, is played by Russell Crowe, albeit with an Albanian accent that he may have borrowed from Boris Badenov from the Rocky and Bullwinkle cartoons. And look, Crow is always fun to watch. And his girlfriend is played by his fellow Aussie, Teresa Palmer, who is solid in a small role. She's much younger than him, but clearly they love one another. And Aaron Paul, a favorite from Breaking Bad and Westworld, and Nina Dobrev are kind of diverting as a reluctant robber and his whacked-out partner. Finally, Luke Evans is also here as this well-financed guy who wants to acquire the club from Marco for questionable reasons. thus offering the club owner a way out. But can he take it? What are the criminals going to do to block his departure? Anyway, director and co-screenwriter Derek Borte has made a kind of familiar sort of movie that doesn't particularly stand out. But Crow, Paul, and Dobrev in particular are fun to watch if you have some time to waste. Otherwise, The Get Out is in select theaters.
Wow. All right. What else do you have for us, oh great, to Culture Blaster?
Well, I know you like a true story and a movie that's based on a true story. And Lucky Strike is one of those films. It's another middling effort that doesn't attain the heights of so many previous World War II movies, but it did kind of catch me up into the story while I watched it. I just left feeling like, I don't know. Anyway, Scott Eastwood, Clint's boy, plays the lead here. Colin Hanks, Tom's boy, plays his superior officer. Two guys born into movie careers. I mean, talk about lucky strikes. Man. Anyway, the Colin Hanks role is a small one. Essentially, this focuses on Eastwood's character, who is, I guess, a soldier trapped behind enemy lines during the last major German offensive during World War II. All he has is this radio with him, and he's constantly radioing back to headquarters, trying to figure out a way out of his predicament. And he encounters Nazis, he encounters locals that are going to be victimized by the Nazis, and he's got to do whatever he has in his power to get back and get safe. And again, it's near the end of the war, so, the clock is ticking. And there are moments that I found kind of intriguing. The director is Rod Lurie, Rod Lurie's an old hand at this sort of thing.
He's a very dear friend of mine, actually, and I can't wait to see the movie. Yeah, go ahead.
It's solid in its storytelling, but maybe I wasn't crazy about the script. Nonetheless, I mean, if you are interested in World War II stories, this is one I had never heard of, and it has a certain appeal to it because, again, he is a craftsman-like director, Rod Lurie. And, I mean, I'm not going to diss it. I'm just going to say, for what it is, it's pretty solid. It's in select theaters, and I believe you can see it in Los Angeles if you want to support your pal.
Yeah, I'm going to actually buy tickets. I really want to see it. He's really talented, I think. And I don't know. I don't know about this material and whatever. It seems intriguing to me. And I guess you were intrigued for a time that you were wrapped up in the story. So
yeah,
so there's that. Yeah,
it gets a little heavy-handed at the end, and there is an interesting flash forward with a woman who may have been inadvertently responsible for keeping our lead character safe.
That's interesting.
She's played by the great actress Ingenue Ellis-Taylor. Let's move on.
Stay till the end. Yeah. What else do you have, a great Culture Blaster?
I want to tell you something about a Netflix movie that dropped last weekend, and I didn't have time to see it before last weekend's segment, but I will say it. I love this film. It's called Voicemails for Isabel, and I'm kind of an old softy at times, And like The Invite, Voicemails for Isabel is set in San Francisco, although there are sequences in Austin, Texas. But Voicemails for Isabel takes much more advantage of scenic San Francisco in this very sweet romantic comedy. It's about a young woman who's in the food preparation business. She's studying under an arrogant chef, Chef Bastien, in San Francisco. She's from the Austin area, and she's dealing with the death of her sister. And the way she's dealing with it is by leaving voicemails on her sister's phone and kind of spilling out her guts in every voicemail. But what has happened is the phone number has been switched in the aftermath of the sister's death to a young man in Austin who's a real estate agent, and he hears them, and he kind of decides that he's going to seek this woman out. He falls in love with her voicemails to her late sister. And this is a very well-written script by Leah McKendrick, who also directed it and appears as one of the real estate agent's friends in Austin. And it could have sunk into schmaltz, and it really doesn't. And a lot of it is on how well-written it is and how well-chosen the leads are. Zoe Deutsch, who again is another legacy kid. She's the daughter of director Howard Deutsch and actress Leah Thompson. She's wonderful in this as Jill, who is still dealing with the loss of her sister. And Nick Robinson plays Wes, and they have a wonderful chemistry together. And considering the death that triggers the story, this could have been a downer. It is not. And we also get the extra added attraction of the great Nick Offerman playing the a-hole chef Bastian in San Francisco. I loved Voicemails for Isabel. Let's put it.
Wow.
I also love this movie, and it's streaming on Netflix. And it's one of those movies where you laugh and you cry, and it's just really good.
I am so glad you saw it and agree with me, Kim. I was going to say, if you haven't seen it, this is the movie for you, Kim McAllister.
Loved this movie. And it wasn't your typical, as you say, kind of schmaltzy romance. There was some substance to this one.
Right. And if you've seen Zoe Deutsch in some of her various performances, she was in Everybody Wants Some, which is a wonderful movie by the director Richard Linklater that kind of fell through the cracks a number of years ago. And she's done a lot of other stuff. You know, I don't care what her origins are. She's got skill. She's got charm. She does a beautiful job here. And again, I really thoroughly enjoyed Voicemails for Isabel.
Yeah, I mean, her origins actually could help inform a more skilled career. I mean, my God, she's grown up in the surrounded by those who are of cinematic excellence. Really interesting. I'm now intrigued. So very cool.
You and Courtney can watch it at home, and you can kind of pine away for the beauty of San Francisco while you do.
Love it. You have one more for us, a great culture buster?
I do have a TV series I've been watching that has been rocking my world. It's a mix of violent crime and kind of dark comedy, and it stars the always excellent Tatiana Maslany, who won an Emmy for her portrayal of multiple clones in the TV series Orphan Black, and appeared as an Amy Semple McPherson type evangelist in the Perry Mason miniseries. She's always good. And here in Maximum Pleasure Guaranteed, this Apple TV series, she plays a newly divorced woman named Paula, who has been engaging with a cam sex worker as a way to while away her time now that she's a solo mom, not in front of her child, of course. And as she's watching this cam performer on her laptop, he is apparently strangled or dragged away, kidnapped. Something awful's happening to him, and she receives a message saying she has to give money or he'll die. And this is what triggers this entire series, but it goes in all these different directions. You have no expectations of it going. Great supporting work. The director, David Gordon Green, has done some really cool films, and the supporting cast is really terrific, including Jake Johnson, who was one of the roommates on New Girl with Zooey Deschanel. He plays the Paula character's estranged husband who has moved on with another woman. And you also get one of my favorite actors, a guy who has done amazing work on television and film. Murray Bartlett plays kind of a sinister character who's manipulating things behind the scenes. I thought Maximum Pleasure Guaranteed was a hoot, and it isn't quite over yet, but you can watch it on Apple TV, and I think the last episode or two will be dropping over the next couple of weeks. Hi, Mark.
Very good, Culture Blaster. Really liked Maximum Pleasure Guaranteed, as you just heard. He also really liked Voicemails for Isabel, set in San Francisco. The sweet romantic comedy could have become kind of pablum, but instead it's elevated to a high level. And it seems like a really inventive story. Voicemails for Isabel is on Netflix. Lucky Strike is the war movie, a soldier trapped behind enemy lines at the end of World War II. It stars Scott Eastwood and Colin Hanks, and it's directed by friend of Mark Thompson, Rod Lurie. Michael liked it. He wasn't over the moon for it, but did get into it. Liked it. I love it. Haven't seen it yet, but I already love it. It's Lucky Strike, and it's in theaters now. The Get Out is the crime drama. The restaurant owner who wants out from the gangsters he's become part of. Russell Crowe with an Albanian accent. Girlfriend played by Teresa Palmer. Aaron Paul is in it. Luke Evans is in it. The Get Out. Michael liked it. My impression was you gave that about a B.
Yeah, B minus. Again, it's not great. There are other movies like it that we've seen before that are better. But I was so gleeful watching Crowe and Aaron Paul, and that was enough to kind of keep me engaged.
What other movies like it would you recommend?
Well, I don't know. There's a lot of, I want to get out, but they keep pulling me back in.
Right, there is that.
This is another one.
What was the one with Ben Kingsley and where he comes back and it's Australia, I think, and he's pulling the guy back?
No, it's not. It's a British film, and God, it's great. It's one of the most villainous turns in Kingsley's career.
Yeah,
and it is a
Sex Monster or something. It's called. What was it? No.
It's called. Something like Scary Monster or whatever. I can't remember the title.
Sex Monster is my
I mean, I am Wikipedia, but the database is corrupted, Mark.
Okay, anyway. Somebody in the chat will tell us. Couture is the Angelina Jolie movie. She plays a filmmaker there. Michael said it was okay. I mean, he didn't, it sounds like you didn't find it was dreamy. But
no, it's not quite as good as numerous other films about the fashion industry, but Angelina Jolie is really, really good in it.
She's really, really good in everything, I think. Really talented. Couture is the name of that film. The Invite is the adaptation of the Spanish film People Upstairs. Penelope Cruz, Edward Norton, Olivia Wilde, and Seth Rogen. Michael really likes this movie. This is kind of the pick of the litter, it seemed to me, maybe with voicemails for Isabel being in there as well. And The Invite has a lot of surprises. It has great acting. My sense was it was really a tight film. Michael, as I say, really liked it. The Invite is in theaters, and Supergirl is how we started. The only other survivor from Krypton besides Superman is Supergirl. She arrived with Crypto the dog onto the Red Sun solar system, which is kind of the solar system hosting her drinking problem, from what I could get.
So a red sun. Krypton was under a red sun. It saps their powers. A yellow sun restores them.
So where did she end up? In a yellow sun or red sun?
Well, no, she lands on Earth, but she doesn't fit in. And for her birthday, she decides to get drunk, and she can't under a yellow sun. So she takes a little ship and her dog, Crypto, to a red sun planet where she can actually feel the effects of alcohol.
Wow, that is real commitment to getting drunk.
And in the process, she witnesses this girl Ruthie experiencing incredible trauma at the hands of this kind of villainous type. And this trauma also impacts Supergirl in a way I don't want to say, because I'll only say, remember the National Lampoon cover that says, "Buy this issue or we'll shoot this dog"?
Yeah.
I just want to remind you that Kara, Supergirl, is traveling with Crypto. That's all I'm going to say.
All right. Very, very good. Michael talks about Supergirl. It's available in IMAX if you want to go see it that way as well. Michael, you had a question here from the assembled masses. Let me quickly ask you that question. I'll try again, says Marshall Fish. Michael, have you seen the new Earth, Wind, and Fire HBO doc directed by Questlove, or the new docs on Peter Asher and Peter Frampton?
I have seen none of them, but as Mark knows, I have a weird connection to Earth, Wind, and Fire, because both Allie Willis and I have worked with, the late Allie Willis, your friend, have worked with Maurice White on songwriting stuff, and he was the leader of Earth, Wind, and Fire. But, that's a story for another time.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. So, well, you'll check it out. I've heard good things as well. I watched the beginning of it, but I haven't seen it.
With my connection to Maurice White, I really should watch it. I'll put it high in the queue.
Yeah. Michael, you've been dreamy today. You can read Michael, and if you like listening to Michael, you'll love reading him even more. I find it and indeed a pleasure to read his stuff. You can find it at thevoicesf.org. The Voice
Yeah.
SF.
My current column is an in-depth look at Toy Story 5 from Pixar and a little bit about Pixar's history.
TheVoiceSF.org. Find Michael Snyder there, and here on Fridays he comes and goes on a rainbow. Bye-bye, Michael.
So long, everybody. See you in L.A.
Yeah, see you back down in Los Angeles soon.